If you are thinking about moving to Hingham, Massachusetts, this video is going to save you some time and energy. Hingham is one of the most desirable towns on the South Shore. It's coastal, it's historic, and it has one of the strongest reputations in the entire greater Boston area. Between its top-rated schools, its beautiful coastline, historic downtown, easy access to Boston, it is not hard to see why so many buyers have Hingham at the top of their list. This is absolutely one of my top recommendations for people looking to move to a suburb outside of the city of Boston. But just like anywhere else, it is not for everyone. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what people tend to love about Hingham, what catches some buyers off guard, and who Hingham is a great fit for, as well as who should probably be looking somewhere else. Before we dive into the pros and cons of living in Hingham, let's get a little bit of location context and figure out exactly where Hingham sits. So Hingham is located about 12 to 15 miles south of Boston, right along the coastline. It borders Weymouth, Rockland, Hull, Cohasset, and Norwell. One of the defining features of Hingham is that access to water. You have the shipyard, Hingham Harbor, beaches both in town and in the surrounding neighborhood. So Hingham feels much more like a classic coastal New England town than many of the surrounding neighborhoods do. And that's going to take us to our first pro of living in Hingham. Pro number one is your coastal lifestyle and access to Boston. This is probably the biggest reason I see people moving to Hingham. You have this amazing New England coastal lifestyle without giving up that accessibility to the city of Boston. Whether you're taking your boat out at Hingham Yacht Club, spending the afternoon at Hingham Harbor, grabbing dinner at the shipyard, or simply enjoying the waterfront, this town has a pace that feels noticeably different than many other Boston suburbs. And if you or the family spend a lot of time outdoors, Hingham also offers some great parks and conservation areas. You have World's End, which is one of the South Shore's most iconic destinations, with miles of scenic coastal walking trails and panoramic views of Boston Harbor. Just a few minutes away, you have Weymouth State Park, which offers 3,500 acres of hiking, mountain biking, horseback riding, fishing, camping, and even cross-country skiing during the winter. Then you have Bear Cove Park, which is adjacent to the Weymouth Back River, and that's going to give you access to an additional 500 acres of beautiful park here in Hingham. Hingham also gives you multiple ways to get into Boston. First, by car by taking Route 3 or Route 3A. But since traffic can be an absolute nightmare around here, many people choose to jump on the commuter rail, and you have two commuter rail stops in town at West Hingham and Nantasket Junction, both on the Greenbush line. Finally, you can take the ferry from the Hingham Shipyard directly into downtown Boston. The ferry is run by the MBTA, which also runs the subway and bus lines in town. This ferry alone completely changes how people experience their commute from Hingham. Instead of sitting in traffic every morning, you can start your day with a coffee on the boat ride across Boston Harbor, and even grab a drink with other commuters from the neighborhood on the boat on the way back home. So this is a great alternative to sitting in rush hour traffic. So for buyers that are relocating from the city, Hingham offers a completely different pace of life without sacrificing that accessibility to Boston. Pro number two is Hingham's downtown and walkability. Hingham has something that many suburbs in the surrounding areas really do not have, and that is multiple centers of activity. You have Hingham Square, the Derby Street shops, and the shipyard. Hingham Square offers this more quaint and charming historic New England town center feel, with plenty of restaurants and coffee shops, as well as some boutique shopping. Then you have the Derby Street shopping area, and that is basically a giant plaza with endless amounts of retailers, alongside some cafes and other places to eat and grab drinks. Then you have the Hingham Shipyard, which is tucked up on the northwestern edge of town, and that's going to give you that marina and ferry access alongside some other great restaurants. And this is actually where Alma Nove is located. This restaurant is owned by the world famous Wahlberg family. It's still to this day run by brother Paul Wahlberg, and it's right across the street from the original Wahlburgers location. So you have a few really great walkable pockets of Hingham that are going to give you access to coffee shops, restaurants, and boutiques and other retailers. So it's not really Boston level walkability, but it is significantly better than a lot of the surrounding towns. And what really makes these areas stand out is their character, especially in Hingham Square. Hingham has done an excellent job preserving its historic New England charm while still offering modern restaurants, shops, and conveniences. So it feels authentic rather than manufactured, and it's a big part of what makes this town so appealing. Pro number 3 is the strong school system and long-term stability. Hingham is consistently known for strong public schools, high owner occupancy, and long-term residents. In fact, Hingham Public Schools received an A rating on niche.com and are consistently recognized among the higher-ranked school districts in Massachusetts. Greatschools.com also rates many of the district's individual schools highly, included a 10 out of 10 for Hingham High School. Athletics are another source of pride here. The Hingham High School teams are consistently competing for league titles and making deep runs into state championship tournaments across multiple sports, ice hockey being an especially high priority for families moving to the area. Families considering private education also have great options nearby, including Derby Academy and Notre Dame Academy, both of which have outstanding reputations. So this is really not a transient town. People move here and they stay here. From a real estate perspective, that is incredibly important. Historically, Hingham has remained one of the South Shore's most stable and high-demand housing markets. Pro number 4 is the housing variety here in Hingham. You're going to find antique homes, Cape Cod-style homes, colonials, new construction, waterfront estates, great condo and apartment options. There's more architectural variety here than you're going to find in a lot of the nearby towns. You have some fantastic waterfront neighborhoods in Crow Point, the Harbor, the Shipyard, as well as World's End. And then you're going to have some slightly more tucked away neighborhoods that feel like they offer a little bit more privacy and a little bit more acreage as well. Pro number 5 is the lifestyle balance here. Hingham has this unique way of balancing coastal and suburban, active and quiet, community-driven and accessible, and historic but still convenient. So you can grab dinner on the water, go boating or fishing, walk around Hingham Square, commute into Boston, spend the weekend at World's End, head over to Wampatuck State Park, or head further down the coast to other South Shore beaches or the Cape and Islands. You're going to find neighbors who have lived here for decades alongside families who have recently relocated from the Boston area or even out of state. Between the community events here, the youth sports, the local traditions, the historic downtown, Hingham has a genuine small town feel that's becoming increasingly difficult to find around Greater Boston. Guys, before we get into the drawbacks or the cons of living in Hingham, if you are just trying to narrow down which of these South Shore or Greater Boston communities is going to be the best fit for you, that's exactly what my team and I help buyers do every single day. So if you're looking to start a conversation, you want a little bit of help comparing some of these neighborhoods, understanding the different markets, or just streamlining the search process overall, please feel free to reach out. We are happy to have that conversation with you and take it from there. Now let's get into the cons of living in Hingham, starting with con number 1. It is expensive. Hingham is firmly a premium town. Median home prices are hovering between $1.3 and $1.5 million. Luxury homes here are going to generally start around the $2 million price point, and waterfront homes or newer construction can easily be between $3 and $5 million and up. So Hingham's not really where you come to look for a bargain. People are absolutely paying a premium here for the lifestyle, the community, and the housing stock. Con number 2 is the commute can be inconsistent here. You definitely have some options, which is great, but traffic can definitely back up at Route 3 or Route 3A, and that's before you even hit I-93 heading into the city, which is its own animal. The ferry is a fantastic option to have here, and while it does run all winter, a ferry ride across Boston Harbor feels a little bit different on a February morning than it does on a June afternoon. Also, the commuter rail works really well for a lot of people, but it is absolutely not for everyone. So it's not always a perfectly seamless commute here from Hingham, but it just sort of comes with the territory of living in the suburbs. Because Hingham does sit right on the coast, winter weather is definitely one variable here when it comes to the commute. So just keep that in mind. We do have snowstorms, we do have nor'easters here every single winter, and it's something that the town is as prepared for as many of the other towns around the South Shore, but just keep that in mind. Winter weather is definitely a factor here in the suburbs of Boston. Con number 3 is the housing inventory can be tight here. As I mentioned before, when people move to Hingham, if they can help it, they stay. The community is established, but residents also embrace newcomers, and there really aren't many reasons to leave once you get comfortable here. So for that reason, the demand remains consistently high. If you're looking for something very specific here, you're likely going to need some patience or at least access to homes before they hit the public market. And of course, no pressure to work with me or our team, but this is where our team's main office is located, and it definitely is not going to hurt to work with an agent who has great relationships with countless other agents in the local market to get you a leg up when you're competing against other home buyers out there. Con number 4 is Hingham is not a super young, high energy scene, which some people might see as a pro. So it's not South Boston, it is not the Seaport. The town is not built around nightlife. Instead, you're going to find some great restaurants, community events, outdoor recreation, coastal living, and for many buyers, that's exactly what they're looking for, but for some others, it might just be too quiet of a suburb. Con number 5 is the taxes and the cost of living. Now, we've already covered that housing prices here are expensive, and the tax rate itself is actually pretty competitive, but the challenge comes with the higher housing cost. So because homes are worth so much more here, the overall property tax bill and total cost of ownership can still be substantial. I do want to mention one additional sort of silver lining benefit that you get for the cost of living here in Hingham, and that is the fact that Hingham has their own municipal electric department. Now that may not sound very special unless you actually grew up or have lived in a town that had their own municipal electric department, because when you have gone through a winter like we just did here in the Boston area in 2026, and some of these South Shore communities had to deal with electric outages as long as a week, it makes a huge difference to live in a town that has their own municipal electric department because the outages are significantly shorter. They are able to get the power back on like that. So when you're dealing with nor'easters every single winter, this is an absolute game changer. So something to think about when you're looking for communities in the greater Boston area or here on the South Shore. Now let's get into who Hingham tends to be a great fit for. So Hingham works extremely well for Boston professionals who want a coastal lifestyle, buyers prioritizing excellent schools, athletics, and long-term stability, move-up buyers who are looking for space and quality, buyers who appreciate walkable town centers without needing that city energy, and buyers who are planning on staying for 7 years or longer. This is very much a lifestyle-driven town. So who should probably think twice before moving to Hingham? Well, Hingham might not be ideal for first-time buyers who are on tighter budgets, buyers who are prioritizing nightlife, investors who are looking for a high rental turnover, buyers needing an extremely predictable daily commute, and buyers who are focused primarily on finding the best value. So Hingham is definitely not about being the cheapest option. It is about lifestyle here. It's about coastal access, historic New England charm, great schools, a tight-knit community, and long-term value. For the right buyer, I genuinely believe this is one of the best lifestyle towns anywhere around Greater Boston. But just like any other town, it only works if your expectations are aligned with what the town offers. Guys, if you are considering Hingham as an option or trying to compare it to neighborhoods like Cohasset, Duxbury, or Norwell, feel free to reach out to start the conversation. Just give us a call or click on that link in the description. We're happy to listen to what you are looking for and give you some insight as to how we are helping our current buyers win homes in these competitive South Shore markets. One of the things that I'm trying to do with these videos is to create as much value as possible within a reasonable period of time, but I also like to get a little bit of insight from other locals of these communities. So if you're a Hingham local, you have some additional information to add, something that I didn't mention, or something that maybe you learned about Hingham since living here or moving here that you feel might be valuable to someone coming into town from out of state or another part of Massachusetts, love to hear your thoughts in the comments. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.